Hello guys! Today I'm going to explain the most popular Chinese drama on the internet. This drama is a perfect blend of Chinese mythology and fiction. This is a story overflowing with magic and hidden powers, rooted in the ancient practice of cultivation. Cultivation was basically an art through which Chinese people of old awakened the dormant energy within themselves, mastering mystical forces that ordinary eyes could neither see nor understand. Those who walked this path were known as cultivators. The story opens 16 years in the past, in the middle of a brutal war, where clans threaten one another, vowing destruction in the name of dominance. Amid this chaos, a wounded 16-year-old boy named Wuxian stands alone on a cliff, watching grown warriors fight desperately over a mysterious magical metal. As the violence intensifies, the weight of people's words has crushed Wuxian, and he is crying uncontrollably. He closes his eyes, steps forward, and leaps from a height, fully prepared to end his life. But before he can fall to his death, someone rushes forward and grabs him. Wuxian hangs suspended in midair, held by a man whose hands bleed from the strain. That man is revealed to be the second male lead of our story, Lanzan. Wuxian begs him to let go, insisting he deserves to die, but Lanzan refuses because he cannot bear to watch him perish. Then we see another man approaching with a sword, his expression grim and determined. He insists he must die, that he is only worthy of death. They both looked into each other's eyes, and Wuxian told the Lanzan to leave his hand as he is not suitable for this world, but Lanzan said he will never do it. He was about to pull Wuxian, but suddenly another boy named Zheng came and he strikes his sword on Lanzan, and suddenly his grip loosens and Wuxian falls into the pit. Lanzan couldn't believe that Zheng, Wuxian's own brother, could do something like this. Wuxian was no ordinary man. In his very first appearance, he revealed a dark, almost demonic side. He carries something like a smoky stone, and whoever comes near it meets death at the hands of another man. Chaos follows wherever he goes. The scene shifts to the present. A master is teaching his students when someone mentions that Wuxian is no more. The master turns around without answering the question. A student named Sang notices his reaction and looks at him carefully. The master quickly composes himself. They discuss how Wuxian's body was never found. They searched everywhere, yet he was nowhere to be seen. Sang wonders aloud whether peace has truly returned since he disappeared, or whether he might come back someday. Suddenly, a violent storm erupts, terrifying all the students. Everything around them trembles and rattles, leaving them confused and unsettled. Outside, a wandering fakir walks calmly through the storm, murmuring that souls never truly vanish. They only travel with the wind. He disappears into the gusts as if swallowed by them. Inside a dim room, a man named Mu sits quietly beneath hanging slips of paper covered in magical inscriptions. But it was not actually Mu, and it's Wuxian's soul in Mu's body who recalls fragments of old memories as he sees himself falling, wounded, and then glances at his injuries, which still look fresh. Everyone believed he had died, yet here he stands, alive even though he couldn't believe how he is here alive. A piece of cloth falls to the floor along with a mask. He picks up the mask slowly. Soon, a group of men storm into Mu's room, shouting angrily and demanding to know where he has hidden something. No one answers them. They order their men to search the house and retrieve torn pieces of paper. They accuse him of plotting something. When Wuxian finally speaks, he calls them nothing more than dogs, mere dogs and nothing else. Insulted, they leave in fury. Later, as Wuxian walks away, he stares at his reflection in the water, and it's not him, but it's Mu who gave his soul in exchange for Wuxian to take revenge. Because he likes men and he has no place in the master's school, everyone mocked him every day, so he decides this sin and calls a soul from the dead. Wuxian insists that he must fulfill Mu's wish, so he decides to take revenge on everyone. The reflection almost seems to answer him, reminding him of the revenge he seeks. He glances at his wounds again. They are still fresh. After a while, Mu's brother appears and scolds him, asking what madness he is up to. Wuxian mocks him in return, mimicking his tone. His brother reminds him that this is not a joke and demands to know what he is doing. He replies sarcastically, asking what he is supposed to say. His brother reminds him that he once swore not to step outside, even if the sky were to split apart. He asks where the foolish mask is, warning him to wear it before he completely loses his mind. To everyone, it's Mu who is in front of them, but it's actually Wuxian's soul. He suddenly asks how old he was when he was sent away. His brother, frustrated, replies that he was 13, but Wuxian couldn't believe it. With that, he tries to leave, but his brother chases after him and starts hitting him playfully. In retaliation, he uses a bit of magic to snatch the roasted grams his brother is eating and walks away munching them. After tasting them, he complains that they are not even good. As Wuxian moves forward, he notices some students approaching. They all hurry inside. Suddenly, Wuxian steps forward dramatically and announces his presence, declaring that they were just talking about Mu. Everyone is shocked. The queen orders him to leave, insisting that no one was speaking of him. Wuxian collapses onto the ground dramatically as the students begin laughing. He pleads and clings to his brother, who tries to drag him away. Instead, he clutches a curtain stubbornly and declares that he will not leave until what belongs to him is returned. His brother, confused, asks what he could possibly have taken from him, insisting he has done nothing wrong. Wuxian pointed toward the crowd dramatically and complained that everyone there was mistreating him terribly. The people around began murmuring that the poor fellow suffered such cruelty. His brother, losing patience, demanded to know exactly what had been taken from him. Furious, the brother grabbed a liquor bottle and swung it at his head. The bottle slipped from his grip, crashed to the ground, and shattered. Wuxian immediately cried out again, declaring that this was exactly how he was abused in front of everyone. Even the students stood stunned at the spectacle. The queen, flustered, tried to calm the situation and quickly explained that his mind was unstable, snatching up the bottle to prevent further chaos. When Wuxian drank the liquor, he thought to himself that this is not the same as it was 16 years earlier. The students then decided to guard the house, vowing that no evil spirit would be allowed to enter and cause harm. Soon, a group of students approached carrying black flags. Sang began directing the others, telling some to stand on one side and the rest to form a line on the opposite side. Wuxian quietly observed them and then strode forward, snatching one of the flags from a student's hand. They quickly formed a circle around him. Sang shouted at him, demanding to know what he was doing and ordered him to drop the flag. Wuxian refused, insisting that he would play with it and give it to no one. When he saw the talisman on the black flag, Wuxian smiled and thought to himself that the school is still using the mantra he gave. Sang politely asked for the flag, and when Wuxian saw his dress, he remembered Lan Zan, who used to wear this kind of dress, and he became sad and thought to himself as to where and what Lan Zan was doing. In a flash of contempt, he crushed the flag beneath his foot and walked away, leaving the group bristling with fury. Mu's brother whispered to his guard, wondering why black flags had been raised at all. He ordered someone to bring one of them over for inspection. Meanwhile, faint flute music drifted through the air. The students froze, asking who could possibly be playing it and remarking that the melody sounded hauntingly familiar. The scene then shifted as wounded men were carried inside and Wuxian was hiding his face, fearful that he might be recognized. Sang approached him gently and asked if he could stand. Suddenly, Mu's brother was violently attacked and screamed in agony because a spirit had taken his body. At that moment, his mother rushed in, her face filled with panic. Within seconds, the energy around him shifted, and he transformed into a sinister spirit. He struck her down and left her unconscious. When Wuxian touched the man's body, a black cloth slipped away from his hand, revealing that one of his wounds had mysteriously vanished. He declared that this was proof that his wound would heal as soon as he took revenge from Mu's enemies. The queen attacked Wuxian and told everyone to be removed at once, saying she could not tolerate this man for even another minute. The master himself began to transform into something monstrous, and chaos erupted as people fled in every direction. The queen watched in disbelief. Students whispered frantically, questioning why Lan Zan was not there to stop this. Amid the confusion, someone noticed a dark mark spreading across Mu's brother's body. Before anyone could intervene, he took his own life. Wuxian explained with eerie calm that this evil spirit is taking left hand to kill everyone. The possessed spirit lunged at a student, but Wuxian intervened just in time, pulling the attacker away and knocking him down. He commanded the others to rise, and soon a full-blown fight broke out throughout the house. Furniture crashed, walls trembled, and the students were trembling with fear. In the midst of the chaos, a figure appeared holding a sword. He threw something sharp and precise, striking his targets cleanly. Watching from the shadows, Wuxian realized that Lanzan had arrived. He smiled when he looked at him and remarked playfully that Lanzan looked strikingly handsome in white robes, and he still wears this beautiful dress. Even in the middle of disaster, he found time for fashion commentary. Priorities, after all, must be maintained. Lanzan began playing his instrument, and the soothing melody gradually calmed the chaos. He continued to play steadily, and the three aggressors slowly lowered their heads before him. He then questioned why such hatred filled their hearts. Lanzan explained that the cursed sword was the true cause behind all this destruction. The thing is that these kinds of demons were only come into life by this Ying sword, and he immediately realized that someone had awakened from the dead. Lanzan descended the steps, scanning the surroundings carefully, and wondered aloud whether Wuxian had truly returned from the dead. Because he can feel his presence, Wuxian also senses this, and he hides before Lanzan couldn't see him. Elsewhere, a man handed an old gentleman a piece of gold, saying it was payment for listening to his tale, and that his day had been a fortunate one. The wandering fakir reappeared, murmuring that the lost souls did not need to search for home, because this place had always belonged to them. Finally, Wuxian stared at his own hand, noticing a wound healed. That means Mu's revenge from his cousin and others taken, but for another sound he was questioning who his true enemy might be. Wuxian was riding lazily on his donkey, chatting with the animal as though it were an old companion who understood every word. The donkey flicked its ears patiently, probably wondering how it had ended up as both transportation and therapist. In the next scene, he was sitting beside a well, calmly drinking water when a group of men passed by. Instantly, he pulled a mask over his face and moved a little distance away from the well, pretending not to notice them. The men were discussing something in hushed, uneasy tones about a watch that Wuxian had developed that showed the direction of the spirit to the Dafan mountain. The moment Wuxian heard the name, his attention sharpened. He casually struck up a conversation and asked whether anything unusual had happened there recently. The men replied grimly that something from the mountain had been killing many people and asked if he truly did not know. Hearing this, he fell silent, no longer eager to press further. Just then, a strange young girl approached. Without a word, she handed Wuxian a fruit and told him to feed it to his donkey. As soon as he accepted it, she burst into childish laughter. The laugh lingered in the air, slightly unsettling. In the following scene, Wuxian stood on a hill, staring toward Dafan Mountain in the distance. The same girl appeared beside him and began dancing wildly while gazing at the mountain. Her mother ran up, crying desperately, trying to stop her, but the girl would not listen. Realizing something was terribly wrong, Wuxian quietly chanted a spell and rendered the girl unconscious. He gently asked her mother what had happened. Through tears, she explained that ever since her daughter had returned from Dafan Mountain, she had been behaving like this. Before he could respond, loud screams echoed nearby. He rushed toward the sound and discovered several people hanging helplessly from large nets, crying out for help. Just as he was about to act, the most charming yet arrogantly self-assured man in the story made his entrance, Jin Ling. The moment Wuxian saw him, he slipped out of sight. The trapped villagers pleaded with Jin Ling for rescue, but he coldly informed them that he had set over 400 nets, and they had foolishly ruined them all. Now they deserved to hang there as punishment. Wuxian, overhearing this, muttered to himself that the clan must be extremely wealthy if they could afford so many traps. Meanwhile, the strange girl began calling out to the donkey. Hearing her voice, the animal trotted toward her, forcing Wuxian into the open. Jin Ling recognized him as Mai and instantly exclaimed in surprise. Wuxian stepped forward and demanded to know whether Jin Ling remembered him. Jin Ling sneered and replied that no one could forget him as Mu, especially after he had been expelled by his uncle and wandered around pretending to be mad. He added that it was a good thing he had been cast out. Jin Ling's rude tone was unmistakable. Hearing it, Wuxian remarked coolly that perhaps Jin Ling's mother should have taught him better manners. That struck a nerve. Furious, Jin Ling drew his sword. Wuxian responded with a defensive spell that knocked Jin Ling to the ground, paralyzing him temporarily. Calmly picking up Jin Ling's sword, Wuxian sliced through the nets in a single swift motion, freeing everyone. Jin Ling was livid and threatened to complain to his uncle. At that moment, another figure appeared. It was none other than the now clan leader of the Zheng clan and Wuxian's brother. Wuxian stiffened slightly, hoping he would not be recognized. Zheng scolded Jin Ling harshly, telling him he had learned nothing despite repeated warnings. He declared that anyone who misused the forbidden teachings would be cut into pieces and fed to the dogs. As Jin Ling prepared to strike again, someone blocked his attack, the white-robed prince, Lanzan. The sight of Lanzan sent Jin Ling scrambling behind a tree. He muttered to himself that the entire day had been cursed from the start. Zheng remarked casually that he had heard Lanzan had traveled the entire country over the past 16 years searching for someone. Lanzan deflected the conversation and pointed out that setting traps everywhere had discouraged people from hunting, which was against the rules. Jin Ling tried to speak again, but Lanzan casted a spell on him and silenced him. Wuxian smiles as Lanzan had not been changed. Zheng bristled with anger, ordering the spell to be lifted. Lanzan calmly observed that if the clan leader learned to control his temper, matters might resolve themselves sooner. At that moment, a soldier ran in breathlessly to report that a blue sword had cut through all the nets. Zheng left immediately to investigate. A short while later, Lanzan turned and noticed someone hiding behind a tree. Wuxian's breath caught in his throat, but Lanzan simply walked past without a word. Only then did Wuxian allow himself to breathe again. Later, by a pond, Wuxian saw Zheng's reflection in the water, as though it were speaking to him. The memories of old days stirred deep emotions within him and their sister Yanli. Just then, a group of people passed by, criticizing Jin Ling. One young woman remarked that he was only a child who had lost both parents early in life because of Wuxian as he killed his father. Wuxian slapped himself lightly in frustration, regretting his earlier harsh words to Jin Ling. In another scene, students from the Lan clan arrived at a graveyard. There, they encountered an elderly man quietly cleaning clothes. When asked whether he had noticed anything strange, the old man mentioned that the stone statue at the abandoned temple atop Dafan Mountain looked unusually disturbing. Before the old man could say anything further, the Lan clan students had already started marching toward Dafan Mountain. After they left, the old man suddenly shouted after them that the statue on the mountain was alive. Meanwhile, Wuxian's donkey was calmly grazing when it suddenly lowered its head and began nibbling at spirit-attracting grass. Wuxian immediately understood that such grass only grew near burial grounds, which meant there had to be a graveyard nearby. Sure enough, he was wandering among tombstones when he spotted the same old man the Lan clan students had spoken to. He felt uneasy and hurried toward him, intending to ask more questions, but before he could speak, the old man vanished into thin air. Meanwhile, the Lan clan students had reached the temple on Dafan Mountain. Jin Ling arrived there as well and, in a bold display, stepped forward to take a flying arrow upon himself, as though daring every demon on the mountain to appear before him at once. The universe, apparently, decided to accept the challenge immediately. Within moments, the stone statue inside the temple began to move. Just then, someone shouted for everyone to run, and the group rushed out of the temple and the statue was attacking them fiercely. Jin Ling fired an arrow at it, but that only enraged the statue further. Seeing the chaos, Wuxian quickly cut a piece of bamboo, carved it into a flute, and began playing. The melody echoed through the air, and then he appeared. The first major twist of the series unfolded. Wen Ning, known as the Ghost General, was alive. Wuxian stared in disbelief as he had died long ago. Wen Ning arrived and destroyed the animated statue in a single devastating strike. Almost instantly, Wuxian suspected that someone had deliberately set up the statue as a trap to summon Wen Ning. The others surrounded Wen Ning, worried he might lose control. To calm him, Wuxian played his flute again, but instead of soothing him, Wen Ning grew even more agitated. Realizing the melody was wrong, Wuxian switched to an older tune, the one he used to play back in Mokul, Lanzan's school. This time, it worked. Wen Ning's fury began to fade. As Wuxian tried to send him away quietly, someone suddenly grabbed his hand from behind, forcing him to stop playing mid-note. He turned and saw that Lanzan was holding his wrist. Time seemed to freeze as they looked at each other in silence. Then Wuxian remembered Wen Ning and resumed playing the calming melody, allowing Wen Ning to disappear. To prevent Wuxian running from him, Lanzan tightened his grip on his arm. Soon, Zheng also arrived, and when he learned that Wen Ning had appeared, he was furious, insisting that Wen Ning had died long ago and questioning how such a thing could be possible. A soldier pointed toward Wuxian or Mu and accused him of summoning Wen Ning. Zheng turned toward him and remarked coldly that he had finally returned. Without hesitation, he lashed out with his magical whip. Lanzan immediately countered the attack and shielded Wuxian. In the confusion, Wuxian tried to escape, but Zheng struck again. This time the whip connected, and Wuxian fell. For Zheng, it seemed as though an evil spirit had been expelled from someone's body, but that was not the case here. Because Mu's body did not hold his own soul, it carried the soul of Wuxian's. Zheng had struck, believing he was attacking Wuxian's spirit, but he was mistaken. Enraged, Zheng demanded that he remove his mask. As he prepared to strike again, Lanzan intervened, explaining that the whip could identify foreign souls inhabiting another's body. If Wuxian had truly died, both his soul and body would have been destroyed. Zheng questioned how Lanzan could be so certain of Wuxian's death. Lanzan replied that he killed him with his own hands. That answer seemed to wound Zheng in ways deeper than anger. He demanded to know the masked man's true identity. At that moment, Wuxian began to lose consciousness, wishing he could return 16 years into the past. The scene shifted to a flashback. A younger, mischievous Wuxian, Zheng, and their sister Yanli, together at cloud recesses. The three siblings shared a bond stronger than blood, filled with laughter and affection. They were there to study cultivation in Mokul, but they had no place to live for that night. They were at an inn, where two young women entered an inn and handed a box to the innkeeper, instructing him to place it in Liang's room. The moment Liang's name was mentioned, Wuxian glanced toward the girls curiously, wondering where he himself would stay. He followed them discreetly and somehow managed to secure permission to stay there as well. Zheng teased him lightly, remarking that only someone as charming as Wuxian could persuade the girls so effortlessly. But just as they were settling in, the innkeeper returned and told them to vacate the room. Everyone was shocked. Apparently, the inn was overcrowded and accommodations were limited because Liang had booked everything and he told them to leave. In the hallway, they bumped into each other awkwardly. Wuxian muttered that sometimes one simply had to adjust in life. Zheng suggested staying at the inn anyway, but Liang objected, and a brief argument broke out. Before things escalated, they were persuaded to leave to avoid further conflict. Later that night, both of them sat in uneasy silence. Outside the inn, Wuxian complained bitterly that he had no idea what his uncle had seen in that strange fellow to arrange his sister's marriage to this Liang. It was then that we truly understood why everyone had been so uncomfortable earlier. The next day, Wuxian and the others, dressed in formal robes, arrived at the Mokul entrance, but they were stopped by the guards. They were told firmly that without an invitation letter, they could not enter. Unfortunately, the letter had been forgotten back at the inn. Wuxian tried to explain that their invitation had been misplaced and insisted they would never lie. He even suggested calling the clan leader, who knew them well, but the gatekeepers were unmoved and ordered them to wait until evening. Wuxian flared up at once, but Yanli calmed him and advised patience. Just then, accompanied by a quiet but commanding aura, the younger prince of the Lan clan made his entrance, Lanzan. This was the same moment Wuxian would later recall with a mix of embarrassment and emotion. It was their very first meeting. Lanzan arrived with an unconscious student. Wuxian immediately observed that someone had cast dark magic on the boy. That comment made Lanzan pause. Zheng introduced himself and mentioned the lost invitation letter. Wuxian politely requested that they be allowed inside since night was approaching. Lanzan responded in his signature, almost mechanical tone that without an invitation, there would be no entry. Wuxian pleaded again, but Lanzan simply repeated that if the letter was missing, it should be found. Irritated, Wuxian mimicked Lanzan's tone, but before he could say more, Lanzan cast a mouth-sealing spell on him, leaving him speechless. Wuxian's expression alone was enough to spark laughter. Even silence could not contain his outrage. Meanwhile, their companions waited in the mountains of Mokul, having lit a fire and expecting Wuxian to return with the invitation. Yanli grew worried about how long he was taking. Meanwhile, Wuxian came back with an invitation card, but could not pass the entrance because of the protective barrier. Frustrated, he declared that no spell could stop him and attempted to enter from above. Unexpectedly, he ran into Lanzan. Startled, he quickly explained that he was looking for his brother and sister because now had the invitation letter in her possession. Lanzan allowed him inside, but reminded her sternly that entering without permission at midnight was against the rules, especially while carrying alcohol, so he would have to face punishment. Wuxian protested that it was his first time there and he was unaware of the rules, promising not to repeat the mistake. As he turned to leave, he cheekily tried to bribe Lanzan with wine that only angered Lanzan further, leading to their first iconic clash, a confrontation so dramatic and entertaining that Wuxian later joked he was fortunate not to have been born in that strict clan. Honestly, in that place even breathing might require prior approval. Defeated but unbothered, Wuxian climbed onto the roof, sat comfortably, and began drinking his wine outside, reasoning that since drinking indoors was forbidden, he could simply drink outside. Lanzan looked up and called him shameless. Wuxian teased him relentlessly while sipping his wine, until Lanzan silenced him again and ordered him to follow. Inside, Lanzan's brother Benzing and their uncle were examining the unconscious student and confirmed that dark magic had indeed been used. Lanzan dragged Wuxian and took him straight to his elder brother and uncle. There, almost breathless with anger, Wuxian begins recounting everything, every insult, every humiliation, every move that Lanzan and his people had made against him. In front of his brother, he criticizes Lanzan relentlessly, painting him as arrogant and manipulative. But then, Lanzan's elder brother Benzing calmly interrupts and reveals something unexpected. He tells Wuxian that his own brother and sister are here as well. Lanzan had secretly helped them enter. Wuxian's eyes light up at the news. He told Lanzan that he only looks strict, but he is sweet, like candy. Lanzan becomes furious, and as Wuxian moves closer, he senses something strange in the air, a presence that feels off. Benzing quietly explains that the person he thought was dead has been controlled by evil spirits. He appears lifeless, but in truth, his soul has simply slipped out of his control. The scene shifts to the head of the Wen clan speaking to a girl named Qing. He tells her that she must go to Mokul school and locate a fragment of the Jin Tiger cell, and this Jin Tiger is the reason why Wuxian fell to that cliff in the starting of the story. The story of this Jin Tiger will unfold in letter parts. While the leader of Wen clan reassures her that she won't be alone, he will send trusted companions with her. She nods in agreement. It becomes clear that they already possess one fragment of the Jin Tiger cell, and they have been using it to turn people into puppets, bending them to their will. Only a fragment is this much stronger. Meanwhile, the leader of the Wen clan told his best commander named Xuan to be dispatched elsewhere to search for a second piece of the mysterious metal. The leader warns him not to betray them, hinting that he knows Xuan's ambitions lie elsewhere. Back at Mokul, classes for the younger disciples are in full swing. Wuxian, however, is bored beyond belief. He quickly befriends another mischievous boy named Jili, and together they chatter non-stop, disturbing everyone around them. Lanzan, already irritated with Wuxian, refuses to engage with him. One by one, members of various clans introduce themselves and present gifts as a sign of respect. Among them was Jili's cousin, Meng. The children whisper among themselves, revealing that Meng, believed to be a blood brother, is actually only a stepbrother. The gossip makes Meng very insecure. Soon, members from the Wen clan also arrive, and when the guard demands to see their invitation cards. One boy named Peng becomes furious. His behavior is rigid and unpleasant. He carries himself with excessive arrogance. In irritation, he plants a fire spell on the guard, but Qing steps in to apologize and calm the situation, and here we also introduce Wen Ning from the earlier. He was very innocent, and he was Wing's little brother. Inside, Zheng is introducing himself when suddenly Peng and his entire team walk in. They address Lanzan's brother, but Benzing remarked that in all these years, Wen clan members have never come here to seek training, so what brings them now? Peng responds with a tone dripping in pride and subtle disrespect. And this makes Wuxian very angry, so he starts fighting with them, but the tension escalates into a brief argument, but Qing intervenes and restores peace. Later, Wuxian plans a fishing trip, but Zheng reminds Wuxian of his punishment. He must copy his assignment 260 times. He groans dramatically, claiming that was unnecessary to remind him of. On the mountains, Wuxian runs into Qing near a waterfall, and he asks what she is searching for here. Qing attempts to divert suspicion, but Wuxian realizes that members of the Wen clan must have come to the Mokul with some hidden agenda. The following week in class, Wuxian is once again inattentive. Lanzan's uncle calls him out and challenges him with a series of questions. Surprisingly, Wuxian answers each one correctly, beaming with pride after the final response. The uncle quickly tempers his enthusiasm, explaining that the earlier questions were simple. Then comes a heavier one. If a person is possessed by wandering spirits and we must free them, what should be done?